Too, but John Zabawa, CEO of SRC, as to the senior issue today and why is it so important right now?
You know, the senior population is the fastest growing segment of our society, and I think that why that's important is because it impacts all facets of community life, whether it's economic, whether it's social, but we need to recognize the fact that our older adult population really has a lot to offer as being a resource to address some of our community issues. And I think there are a lot of creative efforts taking place to really engage our seniors in being a part of the solution.
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
John. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. It's so important that you're here. And we have this standing room only crowd, and it just gives way to what the Post published on Sunday, that y'all are turning gray. Okay, you're turning gray. It was about time that we had the Denver Post put out a story where everybody can get, so to speak, on the same page. All right, if you did not get a chance to see this story, please come up to one of our volunteers. We will find a way to get it to you. It is such an important documentation of our situation today, which is so much farther grave than we know. And so we're going to learn a little bit about that through the course of the morning. I want to thank all of you for coming, as I said, and for all of the vendors outside. Make sure you go through everything in your bag. There's a lot of good information in there. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Barry O'Shea, who will introduce you to a very important guest.
Good morning. It's my honor and privilege to introduce you a 90-year-old member of the greatest generation that saved the world and won World War II. Let's stretch our legs. If anybody in the room knows a member of the military, served in the military, or had a family member in the military, please stand up. Stretch your legs. All right. All right, now, continue standing if you yourself have been in the military. These military members that remain standing, we owe a round of applause to. Continue standing if you served in combat in the military. Continue standing if you served in World War II in combat. Continue standing if you jumped out of perfectly good airplanes behind enemy lines 4 times. Spearheading the invasion of Sicily, the invasion of Salerno, Italy, and liberating Naples, the first city liberated in continental Europe. Spearheading the Normandy invasion behind enemy lines and liberating the town of St. Mary-Église in France at 4 a.m., 2 hours before the beaches were hit by the amphibious landing. Duke's 4th jump was in Holland, a day jump. The other 3 were at night getting shot at, and they made a movie of the Holland jump called A Bridge Too Far. 4 combat jumps liberating the nations of Italy, France, Holland, served at the Battle of the Bulge to liberate Belgium and then liberate Germany, met the Russians outside of Berlin and liberated a concentration camp. The only person that should still be standing is Major Duke Boswell, so let me introduce him. Duke is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
Thank you. We'll have more to say at lunch.
Gives me a great honor to introduce a colleague of mine, a person who's been here for almost as long as I have, and he's known to all of you as being a key representative to the senior community and to one of the finest television stations in the country, Mark Kobrick, 9 News.
Thank you, Steve. I'm delighted that these seats were filled this morning because, you know what? This is the people's house, and you own those seats. Those are your seats. So I'm glad somebody went up there and sat down. 22 years, Duke was in the Army for 22 years. I have a wonderful anecdote to tell you this morning about a gentleman who was 30 years in the military, retired, got tired of sitting around, and went to work at Walmart as a greeter because they were just starting that whole thing up. He thought that would be great, loved being around people. And he stayed at Walmart for 20 years, but he had one little annoying habit that just set his management off there. Every morning, he was about 10 or 15 minutes late for work. And finally, on the day he retired, his boss called him in and he said, his name's Charlie Whitney, by the way. He says, you know what, Charlie? He says, you have been a great employee. People love you. People come to my store just because you are standing at my door. But every day that you came to work, you were 10 to 15 minutes late. No matter what we did, we couldn't turn that around. And he said, I just want to know, 30 years in the military, how did you get away with that every morning, walking in 15 minutes late? I want to know how the United States Navy let you get away with that. Charlie kind of shifted in his chair and he smiled a little and he leaned forward. The boss says, what did they say to you when that happened every day? And he leaned forward too. And Charlie said, well, sir, they said, good morning, Admiral. How would you like your coffee? 30 years in the military. That's a true story. Every time I get to speak in front of a group of seniors, I always remind them or want to get email from them. And by the way, I get about 1,900 emails a day, and a lot of them are from seniors. And it's you know what, nobody listens to me, nobody cares about me, nobody pays attention to me. Let me assure you, you matter. This today is the leading edge of the silver tsunami. Those drums you heard in the lobby today, that's you rolling towards the State House. They pay attention to you. You matter. Do you know that between 2000 and 2010, the senior population in Colorado grew faster than the regular population, 32% versus 17%. And that by 2030, the senior population in Colorado will have expanded by 150%. If these were lawmakers up here, they would all be paying rapt attention to you because you all matter. And I tell seniors, you have to stay active, stay involved, stay informed, and instead of emailing all the hacks in the media, you need to be emailing these guys because they pay attention to you, they know you matter. I tell seniors, you know what? You drove the economy and public policy for 40 or 50 years. Why would you give up the keys now? Don't ever do it. You call the tune, you run the show, you matter. And look at this room today. It's like Saturday night mass at St. Thomas More Church, I'm telling you. Standing room only. Most importantly, though, I always want seniors to know, as a group, you need to stick together. You have enormous power when you stick together. I'm going to give you an example. My father, Edward Carl Kobrick Jr., God rest his soul, Lieutenant J.G., United States Navy, World War II, scourge of the Pacific, Navy pilot, shot down twice. Didn't know if he was a terrible pilot or if the Japanese were really good shots, but twice he went down. He rolled out of the Navy into a horrible economy. Here he was, a guy we called the commander the rest of his life. Married his war bride, had 8 children, couldn't get a job, ended up selling shoes at Montgomery Ward's. In fact, tried to re-enlist because there was nowhere to work. So here he was, making a life in this little bitty farm town in downstate Illinois, Danville, Illinois. And every morning, the commander, to his final year when he was 85 years old, he would get in his Oldsmobile 98, which is your grandfather's car, and he would drive down to the Dunkin' Donut, and he would have coffee with the 6 other guys who were in his wing. They all came out of the same town. They all flew together. 7 out of 9 made it back, and they'd go down there every morning, and they would have coffee. Well, one morning, the commander, who, by the way, when he was 83, I called him up, and I said, how you doing, Dad? And he said, you know what? I can't lift my left leg. I can barely raise my right arm. I've got a terrible pain in my left shoulder. I can't see out of my right eye. I'm walking with 2 canes now. But thank God I can still drive. That was the commander. So we'd get in the Oldsmobile 98 and he would head down to Dunkin' Donut. And one morning, 85 years old, I swear to God, this is a true story, he comes up to the railroad crossing in his little town. Midwestern towns are full of railroads, mostly grain haulers. And the gates are down and he hears the train whistle and he looks down the track, he pulls up to the gates, it's a mile down the road and he's thinking, oh my gosh, I can't sit here wait for that silly train to come this far. So he puts the Olds 98 in reverse and he backs it up and he goes around the gate and the train coming from this direction cuts his car in half. Cut it right in half. Didn't hurt him. Amazingly, he's sitting there like this because the back of his car is gone. He's looking at the sky. And he knows he's in trouble. Sure enough, the cops show up, and this young officer gets out of his car and he says, well, good morning, Ed, because the cops know everybody. He says, do you know what happened here? And the commander said, yes, I do. Some idiot in a train just cut my car in half. Officer says, Ed, I need your driver's license. So Ed pulls out his license, the commander, and he hands it over to the cop, and the cop's looking at this, and he says, Ed, this is not good. I mean, you've done a lot of damage here. A lot of people could have been hurt. And you just tore this railroad crossing all to heck. But worst of all, your driver's license has been expired for 18 years. And the commander, still sitting there like this, looks at him, he says, yeah, but isn't that a great picture of me? Well, what happens is he never got to the Dunkin' Donuts that morning. But he went to court 3 months later, and all 8 little Cobricks go home. And my dad says, they're going to send me to the Hoos Cow. He says, it's over. He says, you know, I ran the crossing. My license is expired. All 8 little Cobricks, we show up in court. Here's my dad sitting over there. The commander refused to have an attorney. Thought it was a waste of money. Figured he was going up the river anyway. On the other side of the courtroom, 9 railroad attorneys and the city attorney. All sitting there, and here we are, 8 little Cobricks sitting there like, oh, this is terrible. They're going to put an 85-year-old man, put him in a boat and send him up the river. Well, the judge calls his case, and the commander goes up there, and the Judge Wright, says, well, Ed, says, you're in a lot of trouble here, and you've made a lot of problems for a lot of people. The commander says, yes, sir, I know. He says, you've done $10,000 in damage to a railroad crossing that runs through the heart of town. The commander says, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I know. And he says the insurance companies, I mean, they're going to be fighting for years over this, trying to figure it out. And worse than that, the insurance company's not going to have to recover your car. There's a public building that was damaged and the railroad gates and the tracks will have to be, Ed, this is terrible. And the commander says, yes, sir, I know. And he says, worst of all, Ed, your driver's license has been expired for 18 years. And the commander's like, I know. I know it. It doesn't look good, sir. And the judge says, well, Ed, I'm glad you're contrite. And by the way, that's a damn fine picture. Case dismissed. Because Judge Wright is one of the 6 guys that flew with my dad and had coffee with him every morning at the Dunkin' Donut. All right, you shouldn't be looking to escape public responsibility. But I tell seniors, you need to hang together as a group. You just have huge importance. I mean, you ran the world for 50 years. You're part of the greatest generation, a lot of you, or you have parents that did. You pay your bills. You take care of your kids. You take care of your grandkids. You treasure your community. Look how many of you are here today. All you have to do is learn to hang together as a group. And in this house, you will have huge voice. Thank you very much. And, wait. I get to read the proclamation declaring this Senior Day. I got all caught up and nearly forgot. This was signed by the governor of the state of Colorado. It's an official proclamation for Senior Day at the Capitol, and it reads, whereas Colorado senior citizens play a critical advocacy role by educating and lobbying for legislation benefiting the state of Colorado, and whereas Colorado senior citizens contribute to every facet of our lives, including altering social and public policy, and you do, and whereas Colorado senior citizens sacrifice their time, their talents, and financial resources in support of programs advancing the needs of the less fortunate, and you do, And whereas Colorado senior citizens share a vast diversity of invaluable experience and knowledge in the development of public policy, and whereas we desire to make it known to the people of Colorado as benefactors of their contributions to this wonderful lifestyle that we enjoy here in Colorado, that senior citizens are appreciated and honored. And therefore, I, John W. Hickenlooper, Governor of the state of Colorado, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2014 as Senior Day at the Capitol. So be it.
Well, this is going to be a tough act to follow up. You know, this is, I'd like to have another round of applause because I think these two things are really special. It kind of brings to my mind when I was in grade school during World War II, and what a big deal that was, and all of this brings back real memories. So, I'm Ed Shackelford. I'm president of the Senior Lobby, and you know this is near and dear to me. The lobby is dedicated to doing all it can to protect the interests of the aging population, and I did leave my cell phone on by mistake.
Why not cell phone?
At any rate, that we're really critical to provide input to the legislative process, and you know what happens in this building affects us all. We all need to make sure it is positive for seniors. You know, we've sponsored this for 34 years. Originally, I thought it was 1980, but I brought in the name badges, or the badges, if you all saw those out there. They go back to 1981, which might have been the first Senior Day. And I was curious if anyone was here on Senior Day in 1981. Anyone before 1985? Okay, we actually were going to give a free membership for a year to anyone that was here then before 1985. So that is in the bags of membership application. You can just write that, and so, or you can see me and I'll give you one too and take care of it. And the other thing I wanted to know is the oldest couple, not in age, but in how long they've been married. That is attending. A couple here, 59? 69. That might be tough to beat. Can anyone beat 69 years? Okay. Okay, that also is a free membership for a year at the Senior Lobby. If you fill out the form or see me, we'll take care of that. So a year's free membership to the Colorado Senior Lobby for you. Okay, I want you to know we are a nonpartisan group. We work hard at that, don't always achieve it, but we work hard to be a nonpartisan group. And we're an all-volunteer group. So for a short period of time, we had an employee last year for a very short period of time, but we don't have that anymore either. So at this time, I want to recognize our board of directors, if they would all stand that are here. Some of them are busy doing other things for the event here today, but the chairman is Bob Epstein, which is here. The treasurer is Roger Doherty, and I did not see Roger Doherty. Is he here? And Sheila Schaefer, I know, was here. Where's Sheila? And Mike Drake is the immediate past president. I know a lot of you know Mike, so he's here. The other members are Jennifer Ballantyne, who's going to give the program this afternoon, which is going to be an excellent program on palliative care, which is an issue near and dear to my heart. the Eileen Bond, who I know was here over here, and Corinne Hall, who's our webmaster. She was greeting people downstairs and around, helping a lot. Jeanette Hensley, who came all the way from Grand Junction, and Barb Martig, who I hadn't seen Barb, and she's not real well, so she may not have made it. Rich Morrow, who you'll be seeing quite a bit of this morning. Betty Proctor, Betty's here. Betty's over here. Betty Proctor Fund, if you all are familiar, that was named after years of work that Betty did. Mary Catherine Rabbert, I saw her come in, and then Gary Rasmussen, who is in back here. Also, I want to introduce Grace Olivia Hicks, who is over here doing sign language. We try to improve every year. Last year there was some concern that we didn't have a sign person here, so this year we tried to solve that. Did solve that problem. So, my goal is to have you all become activists for important senior issues. But I'll tell you, I would be happy if 3 people in this room walked out absolutely dedicated to making something happen. I mean, being down here and making it happen, looking their legislators in the face and wondering why things didn't happen. I'm going to give you examples of 2 people. For 3 years, several of us, many of us involved, had a call from this lady over in the Western Slope, close to Grand Junction. She's on old age pension, and she gets, I think, $50 a month. And if you get $60, you get penalized. And she was told to just not report that extra $10. She felt that was wrong. So she, for 3 years, pushed and pushed and pushed, and finally found a Senator King, who would sponsor legislation increasing this so that you could get more money from and not be penalized under the old age pension law. 3 years. She even called me a week ago wondering who else she could call to make sure this bill could get passed. It's has not passed yet, but it's Senate Bill 13, sponsored by Senator King. That's what we call about. We want 3, would be happy with 3 people. We'd love to have 10 or 20. We'd be happy with 3 people today with that kind of dedication. Another person that spent 15 years, I think it is, he's setting up here, is Charles Carter. And he got legislation passed last year. He had worked for 15 years getting legislation passed on elder abuse. And Colorado was one of 3 states that was totally negligent in that. 15 years he spent lobbying and people. He even got it through the legislature, and Bill Owens vetoed it back in the early 2000s. Another person, that's what I'm saying. People do this. People make that commitment. We need to do it, and that's where it's all at. Now, the senior lobby can help, but eventually it requires people with passion to make things happen and to correct those things that are not accomplishing the intended purpose. Again, what happens in this building affects us all. Senior issues have low visibility, and I've been surprised. When I hear candidates for the state legislature talk, they rarely mention senior issues. I read the platform of one of the parties. There wasn't any senior issues in the platform of the party. Now, what I did was, with some help from others, we drafted up, went to the floor, and had to collect signatures in order for them to let me take it to the floor. Did get it into the platform, but what does that tell you? It tells you the visibility of seniors is low. We can say we have senior power, but we have a long ways to go before we really get the visibility we need. I was frankly surprised when I looked at the platform. And now our goal is to make you all activists. We want you to be aware of the issues, understand the position of Colorado Senior Lobby, AARP, and others looking out for seniors. How do you do this? Some simple things is you can go to our webpage, which is simple to remember. It's coloradoseniorlobby.org. And the AARP webpage, which I don't have. You could call in every Monday morning when the legislature is in session, and every other Monday in the off sessions. We meet at the VOA, Volunteers of America, 27th and Larimer. Anyone can call in and listen in on those meetings, or you can come. You know, those meetings are open to anyone. So we want you to do that, and contact your legislators. How many have contacted a legislator this year? Not many. How do you expect legislators to pass things important to seniors if you don't call your legislators? And if you want to know what the bills that are important, you can go to our webpage and call up our bill sheet. You actually have a bill sheet. It's in the middle of the program. We do that every week, update it. That shows the bills we're watching and the positions we take. Next year, I want to see at least 50% of the hands go up. We are not going to make it happen without getting in the faces of these legislators. You can testify at committees, and if you have uncomfortable testifying by committee, you contact us. We will help you. We will give you some of the ways to do it. We will even come with you to do that. And if you want to know how the legislature works, we videoed a training session last December designed to teach you how to work with the legislature. You can go on our webpage there and do that. Now you may recognize that we're really quite proud of our webpage. In the last year, we have turned an embarrassment into a very powerful webpage. And surprisingly, more and more seniors are getting on the web pages. You know, there were probably 5 or 10 years ago, there would have been few. Now, how many of you go on the computer? Okay, each of you can contribute to protecting our seniors by becoming members. So that's really all I have to say at this time. So, I'm sorry. I said I'm ended with my talk at this time, so I'm through. So
I'm Bob Rankin. I'm a representative, and I'm the oldest representative in the House at 71 years old. But I love this day. I love all that gray hair out there. Thanks for coming. And I just want to take a second to welcome you because I am was a retired senior doing all the things you're doing. I got more and more active in politics and realized that there's plenty of room for us just because we're a little bit older and maybe, have had a lot of our life experiences behind us. We can still influence politics. We can still be involved. What happened to me is my wife and I were sort of active, and she was on the parade committee for our local party and went off to parade. And one of the county commissioners walked along and he says, I'd like to have you help me with my campaign. And she said, I don't want to do that, but I'll send my husband. So about 2 years later, I ended up running for state senate, lost by 1%, and then in the last election realized that I was in a House district that was open and available and ran for that. And, I'm going to stick it out just as long as I can, and you can serve 8 years. I'll be about 80 when I finish. So, we can all stay involved and stay active. And, we have more life experiences. A lot of these kids around here, haven't done what we've done. And every once in a while, they'll come hang out in my office. My wife is actually my aide, and she's my age. And so we're kind of, to a lot of these kids, we're kind of the mother, father figures. And it's really an interesting thing to be here and kind of reflect back on all the things we've done, but still be active and involved in politics. So if you want to call somebody that understands what you're talking about, call me. That's all I can say. And I represent, by the way, far western Colorado, Moffett, Rio Blanco, and Garfield counties, the northwest corner. And there are a lot of ranchers and farmers and, gas field workers and coal miners out there, but a lot of retired people. So, I try to stay in touch with those issues. So if there's anything I can help you with from my perspective, please let me know. But thank you so much for being here, and, stay active, lobby. It makes a difference. When you come testify, when you write those letters, it makes a difference. And we do things every day around here that people don't know about. They don't really get involved and read all those bills. It's hard. We have 600 bills, but every day something happens around here that affects your life. And you can get on the website and read some bills and find out about it and call some people and write some letters and make a difference. That's my message. So thank you very much for being here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Randy Fischer. I'm a state representative from Fort Collins, and it's great to have you here in the state capitol. This is my 8th year in the legislature, and I think you've been here every year that I've been here, and even before that. I want to especially welcome the members from Larimer County, who I know came down on a bus this morning, and that bus has always been done by Lou and Roberta Lockman, who are here in the chambers, I think. And will the people from Larimer County maybe just raise your hand so I can see where you're at? Great. Good to have you here. Thanks for being here. So I have to rush off to a committee meeting right now, but I did want to honor you by coming in and just welcoming you to the Capitol, and especially thanking Lou and Roberta for bringing the Larimer County contingent down. And I would just echo the comments of Representative Rankin that it's really important that we see your faces down here in the legislature, especially when it comes time to testifying in committee hearings. It's very important, and we welcome and always give everyone a opportunity to make their points known in our committee hearings. That's your opportunity to interact with the legislature, and so that's where I'm going right now to present some bills, and I'm the chairman of a committee, and so we'll be holding committee hearings this morning. So welcome again, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Wanted to let you know that our two guests, Rich Morrow from Denver Regional Council of Governments, Kelly Fritz from AARP, are your hosts through the remainder of the morning. Thank you. Welcome them, please.
We have another legislator.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? It's good to see all of you here. I'm Sue Ryden. I represent House District 36 in Aurora. Do we have any Aurora folks here today? Great. Thank you for coming. You know, what I wanted to say to you all is that, I'm a senior myself, and I am reading the newspapers and talking to Rich all the time about the silver tsunami that's coming. And I just want to thank you guys, because you are really on the bleeding edge of this tsunami, if I can mix my metaphors. Because the work that you're doing now, when a lot of other people are not paying attention, have you noticed that? They will be paying attention in another few years when the baby boom's big bulge actually gets there, and the work that you have done in advance, they are going to be so thankful for. So thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Steve Lebsock, and I'm a state representative, and I was elected by the people of Federal Heights, North Glen, and a piece of Thornton. I want to ask for a show of hands. How many folks are eligible for that very popular program where if you're 65 or older and you've lived in your home for 10 years, you get 50% of the first $200,000 off of the value of your home? Who's, okay. All right, that's a popular program. Okay, it's a wonderful program. And let me tell you what I'm going to do next week. I'm going to introduce an HCR, a House Concurrent Resolution, that is going to expand that for folks. Let me tell you about some of the inequities we have in that current program. If you're a senior and your home gets wiped out by a natural disaster, and you decide not to rebuild on your current land because you're now in a floodplain and you have to move down the street a few blocks, guess what? You lose your eligibility. That's not right. I'm going to run an HCR, and I'm going to be speaking with the governor's office Monday morning and asking for his support to make sure that that doesn't happen to our seniors, number one. There's two more pieces to this House concurrent resolution. Now, let me tell you real quick what a House concurrent resolution is. A House concurrent resolution does not need the signature of the governor because it's not a regular bill. It needs 2/3 of the House has to vote yes, and 2/3 of the Senate. And so when you're talking to folks down here during your lobby day today, please remind them that Representative Lebsock is a bipartisan legislation. Representative Lebsock and Representative Scott has a real good HCR that's going to expand this. And let me tell you two other pieces that we're going to add to this legislation. There are veterans that serve our country honorably, and they come home, and if they were injured in a conflict or a war, and they're designated by the Veterans Administration, Veterans Affairs, the Federal Veterans Affairs, and they're designated 100% disabled, then those veterans also qualify for the first $200,000 of actual value of their home. They get 50% exemption. Well, some of those veterans, after their spouse, living with their spouse for a number of years, the veteran may pass away. But the spouse of the deceased veteran, who is 100% disabled, is still here. And she or he was taking care of that veteran, standing by his or her man, that veteran, for a number of years, taking care of him. She or he loses her exemption, ladies and gentlemen. That's not right. That's not right. And we're going to change that with this HCR. So make sure you tell the governor's office and make sure you tell legislators that seniors deserve this. And veterans deserve this. One more piece, ladies and gentlemen, to this. I was speaking to a gentleman in North Glen, and I think he's around 75 years old, and he said, "Steve, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I've had a real good life, but I got to tell you, I've got stairs in my home. And my budget kind of depends on that exemption now. But if I move into a smaller home, I'm a slave in my own home because I can't move. Also, the doorways in my home are too narrow. And when I get to the point where I'm in a wheelchair, I can't make it through my doorways." And so, ladies and gentlemen, the third piece will be, if you turn 75 years old and you're 300% of the federal poverty level or below, then we're going to extend the exemption for you as well, because you shouldn't be trapped in your own home that doesn't work for you anymore as a senior. And so those are the three pieces, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name's Steve Lebsock, and make sure you tell folks that you support the exemption and the expansion of the exemption brought forward by Lebsock and Scott. Thank you very much. Okay. I will, two questions real quick. I have Randy Fischer spoke before me, and he's chair of my committee. And if I'm not down in committee in about 5 minutes, he's going to say that I'm absent. Maybe 2 minutes. So maybe one question. Is that okay, Rich? Or a couple of them? Yes, sir. You know, I don't have the numbers, but I think Rich Morrow and Kelly would be able to give you those exact facts later on in the presentation. But it is a fact that we've got folks that are seniors and children that are in fact homeless in our state, sir. One more question, and then I have to go. Yes, sir. You know, it's a House concurrent resolution. It has not been introduced yet. And so it doesn't have a bill number, but just state that Lebsock, just like the sock on your feet, Lebsock. And it's an HCR. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Representative. We now have a whole bunch of legislators showing up to talk to you, so we're going to try to give them all an opportunity. We next up have Representative Lois Court from Central Denver, I guess we'll say.
That's right. That's close enough. Hello, seniors. Hello. I know some of you. I always enjoy coming to say hello to Senior Lobby Day. I feel right at home among my people. Listen. I just want to say thank you for the years of citizenship because you all care. And you know, in my other life, I teach American government to community college students. And I always tell my young people, if you don't get out there and vote, we'll decide your future. And we are, and we have been, and we will continue. But it's really important that we remind the young people that they need to participate too. We do. We do in droves, and I am so proud of all of you for doing that. But we also need to remind our grandkids how important it is for them to become active. When I see young people participating, when I have young people contact me, I remind them how important that is. And you all can be their mentors in showing them, because you do. You participate. Senior Lobby Day is one of the most attended days here at the Capitol. And I commend you, and I appreciate all that you do to help us do our work better. That's all I wanted to say. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, ma'am, I'll take one question, sure. Oh, I'm Lois Court. I represent House District 6 in East Central Denver. Windsor Gardens, how many of you know Windsor Gardens? Yeah, Windsor Gardens is the core of my district. They are the people that I work with. They are the people that really make such a huge difference in House District 6. So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for caring as much as you do, not only about your own issues. You care about all the issues that affect our state. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Representative. And now we have Representative Pete Lee from El Paso County, and he'll give you more specifics.
Thank you. Welcome to the Capitol. My name is Pete Lee. I'm from House District 18, which is in Colorado Springs, downtown. I see some of my constituents and friends over there. Again, I'd like to add my welcome to that of others. We're delighted to see you up here. It's really important, as Lois Court indicated, that you talk to us. Come to the Capitol, send us emails, tell us the issues that are on your mind. The term that's being used to describe us, and being born in 1947, I'm one of us, is the senior tsunami. We are a huge and growing portion of the population, and we have issues dealing with housing, with nutrition, with health care, with voting and activism. And unless you make your thoughts, ideas, and hopes bring those issues to us, they will not be dealt with appropriately. So I encourage your activism, I encourage your participation, and I encourage your support for your legislature. So come work with us. Thanks for being here today.
We now have Representative Joann Ginal from Larimer County, correct?
Thank you, everyone, and welcome. My name is Joann Ginal. I represent House District 52, which is Fort Collins. How many people here are from Fort Collins? Raise your hand, clap your hands. Not too many. I thought a couple busloads were coming down today. But anyways, welcome, and I want to say thank you as well for your participation in government, and I hope you're enjoying the day at the Capitol. I am currently on both healthcare committees, which is Health Insurance and Environment, and also on Public Health and Human Services and the Transportation and Energy committee as well, so I'm on 3 different committees. And I am running several bills that I think may affect some of you in this room, or you may have known someone who might have had the opportunity to take part in one of these bills. One passed out yesterday from the House in a unanimous vote, and that was House Bill 1281, which was to provide terminally ill patients with a choice other than death if they've exhausted all other drugs and devices and anything else that they could possibly do to enter into the use of an investigational drug before it's approved by the FDA. So that to me is important for not just our older population, but for every age, no matter what age you are. So I'm very proud that that was bipartisan and that will bring choice and hope, knowing full well the risks that may be taken, but that is a very important bill that got out of the House yesterday, as a matter of fact. 65 votes. And also, what got out of committee yesterday was a health risk analysis that is going to be done on the Front Range in regards to oil and gas operations. We're concerned with the health of our communities. And so right now it did pass out of the Health Insurance and Environment Committee, and it moves on forward to the floor, hopefully, and we'll move it through. So I'm very concerned about the health of all citizens, and populations are growing, and so is oil and gas. But oil and gas is very important in our communities, and we just have to make sure that it's done safely for the health of all citizens. So thank you for your support on that as well. And with that, I say welcome again, and I hope you enjoy your day here at the Capitol.
And we now have Representative Beth McCann, also, what would we say, Northeast Denver?
Northeast
Right.
Central.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I think everybody said what I wanted to say, which is welcome. Thank you for coming down to the Capitol today. It's really exciting to see so many of you because so many people don't really get involved at all with their government, what goes on down here. Many people don't know who their state representatives are or their state senators and don't really pay that much attention. And so it's really gratifying to us to see you down here interested in what we're doing and trying to influence what we do. Really, this is the way our government works. We listen to you. I get a lot of ideas for my bills from my constituents who have something that they've noticed that they think needs to be addressed. So we do listen to you, and we do appreciate it when you call or email us so that we know what you're thinking. I represent Central and Northeast Denver, so all around City Park, Park Hill, Congress Park, and then Cheeseman Park. I got a lot of parks, which is great, and Northeast Denver. So hopefully some of you are from those areas. I do have, yes, all right. I do have a number of assisted living facilities in my district, which is great also. So I'm chair of the Health Insurance and Environment Committee, and just yesterday we heard bills having to do with regulation of home health providers, home health care providers. So that was a very interesting discussion about how much regulation should there be for people that come into homes to help either disabled or elderly people who can no longer do some of the things that, the daily living things. So we are regulating those businesses, but we want to make sure the care remains affordable. So it's a balancing act, but we have a lot of bills down here, as you can see from your packet, that impact our senior community. And we're very cognizant of the fact that this is, we are going to grow in numbers. I think there was an article in the Denver Post on Sunday about the growth in people over age 65 and what we can expect over the next several years. tremendous growth in this area. So we down here need to be really cognizant of the needs and the costs and expenses of helping those as we all age. So thanks again for coming, and we all look forward to seeing you. Unfortunately, I can't come to your lunch today. I usually do, but I have another commitment today. But I hope you enjoy that and enjoy your time down here. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative, for coming and joining us.
Thank you. Well, good morning and welcome. My name is Tony Exum Sr., and this is my first year in this place, and I'm enjoying the challenge and enjoying the opportunity to serve you. I serve on local government and also on business and labor. And in your packet, you'll see a couple of bills that I'm sponsoring. One is a child care tax credit bill for individuals that are making $25,000 or less to help with child care expenses. And I know that impacts a number of you because some of you are raising your children's children, sometimes unfortunately and sometimes fortunately. And also, I'm also the House sponsor on a Senate bill that's going to, we're looking at increasing the aid to the needy and disabled. So I'm proud to be a sponsor on those bills that impact you. And I wanted to share a tribute that I did for a group of seniors in my area in El Paso County called the Savvy Seniors, and some of them are here today. I saw them. There you are, Miguel and June. But consider this a tribute to all of you, and I want to read that. It says, hereby we extend sincere commendations to the Savvy Seniors on this occasion of Seniors Citizens Day. Senior citizens play a valuable role in our community, and their wisdom is vital in shaping future generations. Seniors are avid volunteers working in schools, with public agencies, and with nonprofit organizations. Unfortunately, their outstanding efforts often go unrecognized or are undervalued. The members of the House of Representatives are proud to honor the Savvy Seniors for their excellent work in advocating for senior citizens and ensuring that they receive the recognition and respect they deserve. And this was written on my request by the Speaker, Mark Ferrandino. So God bless you and thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Representative. That was very nice. We really appreciate it.
We are making videos, as you can see. I can tell you that throughout the day on 9 News at 4 or 5, throughout the day, 9 News will have coverage of this event. We will also hyperlink this coverage to our website. Really want to make sure that everybody takes time to look at all of the material in your bags and all of the development of the bill sheets and where we are. I think I heard Betty Proctor say this morning that it's not just about what we support, but the things that are a threat to us, things that we think are going to be problems for us in the future, those things that we're going to fight. So Colorado Senior Lobby needs your support. We hope that you will join. And again, the website is going to be key, and we can also encourage you to visit the Colorado Senior Lobby YouTube channel. How about that? What do you think of that? To see our videos, and it's probably going to take a week to 2 weeks, week to 10 days or so, to post all of this stuff up, but you want to go to youtube.com. We have these little sheets around, so find one of your ambassadors, and we can give you the sheets to youtube.com/user/Colorado Senior Lobby. And our website is coloradoseniorlobby.org. Kelly, do you want to talk a little bit? Bring them on. Okay. Very good. And that's the drill, ladies and gentlemen, so that you know. This is the month where it gets probably more active than at any other time in the legislature. This is the time for the long bill, for our funding, and we have some $4 million, hopefully, that's going to find its way into the long bill. And we'll have some other folks talk to you about more of those details.
I don't think I've ever seen this many people in the Supreme Court before, so thank you all for coming. It's obvious how powerful your lobby is, and you have some great lobbyists that work for your cause. I'm Dianne Primavera. I represent House District 33, which is in Broomfield, and it also covers the Boulder County side of Erie and all of Superior. And I worked with Mr. Morrow over here last year to get more funding for senior programs, and I was really happy to do that. And then my dad lived to be almost 102 years old, and I kept him in his home the whole 102 years and was pretty much his caretaker, so I know a little bit about what it what it takes to keep seniors in their homes. So I chair the Public Health and Human Services Committee in the House, and I'm always happy to support your issues, and thank you all for what you do and for being here today.